Welcome to America This Week, United We Stand. Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away suddenly this past week. I want to bring in the president of the Judicial Crisis Network, Carrie Severino. Carrie, you've been on the show in the past talking about all things Supreme Court. This has become a political football in America, the Supreme Court seat. Give us your sense of what the right thing to do is, the constitutional thing to do is, and what what history, precedence has told us to do in this situation.
Yeah, the historical precedent here is actually very clear. Every time in history, 29 times we've had vacancies arise during an election year. And every single one of those times, the president has made a nomination. That includes President Obama in 2016, and that's going to include President Trump in 2020. The historical precedent is also very clear about what then the outcome is of those confirmation processes. In cases where the Senate and the White House are held by different parties, like we had in 2016, the historical precedent overwhelmingly is the nominee doesn't get confirmed. And surprise, surprise, that's what we saw in 2016, right? That's kind of the American people tapping the brakes. When they give the Senate to a different party than the White House, they're like, let's hold on. And then the American people end up getting to have that tiebreaker vote in the election as to who they really want to fill that seat. In this year, it's like, we have the White House and the Senate held by the same party. And historically, overwhelmingly, those are seats that are filled. That's what we're going to see this year as well. And I think we're on track to see it very quickly because all of these amazing frontrunners the president's looking for are women who have been recently confirmed by the Senate with bipartisan majorities. It should not take a lot of work to get them through the Senate again.
You're pretty clear that whoever, the president's going to get his pick placed. Important to know, and I don't think a lot of people are talking about this, in the event the election, the November election, is too close to call, and maybe neither side, maybe President Trump doesn't want to concede, and Joe Biden claims the victory, and both say that it's theirs, this eventually makes its way to the Supreme Court. If it's a 4-4 court and no one's been placed, what happens then?
Yeah, that's a challenging situation, right? Now, one of the many reasons it would be good to have someone on the court quickly, because when there's a 4-4 split, whatever the lower court's decision is, just holds. And a lot of times, if it's a big case, the court might wait then and rehear it when the court finally has the complement of 9 justices. But that's not an option if you have this kind of challenged decision. I think that's one of again, a great reason to move forward with this quickly so we don't have a decision where a contested election becomes even more contentious.
Carrie, the makeup of the court is important. Clearly people will say that John Roberts is a conservative. There are others that think he's more liberal than conservative. The makeup of the court, assuming President Trump gets his pick through, how do you read the makeup of the court? Will it be very conservative or a little conservative?
Well, what we have, at least until the death of Justice Ginsburg, is 4 absolute rock-solid liberals voted in lockstep almost every time, right? You had 4 conservatives who generally voted together, although they do tend to have different perspectives, so you'd often see kind of different concurrences or things, different approaches to it. And Chief Justice Roberts, who, previously was one of more of the conservative justices, but in recent years, starting with the Obamacare decision, but then more common recently, was turning out to be more of a swing vote. And it was becoming very frustrating for people because it seems to be based not as much on his judicial approach, but maybe on his read of the politics behind the cases involved. With this vacancy, what we could have is a much more reliable, I guess, majority. And I would say I don't like to think of it even as a conservative liberal majority. I like to think of it as a constitutionalist majority, where it's people who are committed to interpreting the law as it is written, the Constitution as it is written. That means some laws that, a Democratic passed Senate and Democratic president signed it, might be a kind of liberal result because that's what the law says. And if it's a conservative law, that's what they're going to come to that result. So this is really a court that is a rule of law court now, rather than one that's driven by politics.
All right, Carrie Severino, thank you very much. As always, Supreme Court becomes another political football. Who would have thought? 2020. Thank you, Carrie.
Thanks.